G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, my name's Jake and I'm on Progress is Everything. We talk about freelancing, small business and personal finance. In today's video, we're in this series, Freelancing in Your 30s. And if you haven't checked out my other videos in this playlist, definitely check them out. Pros and cons of freelancing in your 30s, how to improve your CV and resume in your 30s. And in this video, we're talking about how you can get more freelance work in your 30s. So we've got 9 tips as well as some bonus tips at the end of the video, so make sure to check out the whole of the video, watch the end and you'll get those bonus tips as well. We're going to jump into the video right now. The first thing is to leverage what you probably already have, you've developed over the years, and that is people skills. The big difference between like people in their 30s compared to people in their 20s or younger is that they've had that chance to experience a bit more of life, deal with different situations, deal with things like conflict, with politics, with different personalities. You should be more well-rounded and have more people skills. This can be really important for almost every different type of freelancing work. And you can sort of break that down into a couple of different things. You can break it down in terms of dispute resolution, conflict management, stakeholder buy-in, stakeholder management, reading people, and maybe even like emotional intelligence as well. You can talk about that in a whole range of different ways, both at interview and on your CV, your portfolio, on your website. But I'd probably like leave it to be almost like top level on your CV or resume. And then if it comes up in the interview, you can talk about it and you can have sort of stories or narratives or examples to prepare at interview. But if you're thinking of freelancing, like remember that your people skills are probably like really strong by now, and it's a strength that you can really leverage. And it leads us nicely into tip number 2 for freelancers looking for more work in their 30s is leverage your communication skills. Now, similar to people skills, it's more likely you're gonna have stronger communication skills in your 30s than you are in your 20s or younger. You've probably got better email etiquette, you've probably got meeting etiquette, you may have been having presentation skills, you may have done like big conference calls, you may have run workshops, you may have dealt with different personalities and know how you can tailor your different communication in different ways and formats. You can leverage all these different things, you can talk about them freely at interview and you can put them on your CV and resume. And it's something that is really going to differentiate you from the competition. If you haven't got the experience of doing presentations or doing videos, it's something that you can actually do in your current job or in your current role. You try and weave it in to gain that experience. You're never too old to learn and to develop new skills. And I think like things like presentation skills and improving communication skills is something you should be doing sort of on a continual basis. Improving your communication skills, I think for me, having thought about it, like I've thought about all the different skills I've developed over my freelance career and outside of work as well. I think the number one thing that is like super important across like any vertical, any industry, any job title, any situation is actually communication skills. I think it's just super valuable. People always want somebody who they can deal with, someone they know who they can speak with. They're always looking for someone that can communicate effectively. You know, that might be on a Skype call or a conference call. It might be delivering or winning business. It might be just communicating a strategy or something that you're working on. Or indeed, it might be communicating that difficult thing to a key stakeholder that the project is delayed for XYZ reason. Whatever it is, in your 30s, you should have like developed a number of these skills. And if you haven't, like there are lots of videos on there are good books out there. And if you need like some more tips and advice on how to improve your communication skills, let us know what you need help on in the comments below. I may be able to run some videos and maybe even playlists on how you can improve your communication skills. Number 3 on how you can get more work as a freelancer in your 30s is leveraging what management experience you've got. You're more likely to have some management experience than your 20s. You may have managed teams, you may have managed agencies or outside suppliers. Along with the people skills and communication skills that you've developed, it's very likely that you've been managing people, resources, budgets, etc. Make sure like if you don't know what exactly to write on your CV or your resume, you can always like just get a piece of paper, get maybe like a notebook or something. You can just sort of scribble the different jobs you've had and try and think about like in bullet points, like who have I managed, how have I managed them, what suppliers have I managed. If you haven't got direct reports, who you're project managing. Maybe you've got like outside suppliers you're actually managing. If you're in writing, maybe you're managing the website and you've got management experience of the website, whatever it might be, depending on what style of freelancer you are, like brainstorm that on a piece of paper, what kind of management experience that you can really bring out in your resume and at interview. The fourth tip for freelancing in your 30s is leveraging the contacts and the networks that you have. In your 30s, it's really likely that you developed like a wider contact base, both from personal contacts as well as work contacts, as well as supplier contacts. They may be online, they may be offline, they may be both. But it's really important to sort of leverage that network. How do you do that? Well, it's probably a good idea to make sure that you've got different contacts in different places, or ideally all in one place. You may have a CRM system at work in your current role, or if you're a freelancer, you may have a black book or a CRM system yourself. CRM systems are like Salesforce and things like that. If you don't, you can use LinkedIn. If you get everyone on LinkedIn, then you can actually export all those contacts in a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet file that you can later update or upload into your CRM if you have a CRM system. Guys, if you want me to answer any questions about these kind of things, put them down in the comments. I'm sure I can go into the detail down there rather than clogging up this video all about CRMs. So you want to use your contacts effectively. When you're looking for work, let people know. When you've done a new course, you want to let people know. When you've achieved something, like you've got an achievement you want to share, maybe you've like overachieved on a certain metric, or maybe you've produced a new bit of content, or maybe you've got a case study you've worked on, or you've won some business, whatever it is, it's important to sort of share that as widely as you can. If you can, make sure you're not doing it outside of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. But if you can legally share these things, then definitely share them with the contacts you've made. The fifth tip for getting more work in your 30s is to make sure that your social media platforms are sort of filled out professionally. You don't want to sort of I'm sure when you're in your 20s, it's much more likely that you've got social media and it's clogged up with personal things and nonsense or whatever it might be. Maybe it's like mixing your non-professional things, so maybe it's not nonsense, maybe it's sports or hobbies or whatever. But still, you want to make sure that your professional social media platforms are really tailored towards the type of work that you want to do. So if you're working in marketing, you want to have articles, you want to have thought leadership, you want to be commenting from about marketing. If you're a writer, writing. If you work in development, you maybe want to be talking about coding. Whatever it is, whatever vertical and whatever job title that you want, freelance roles and work you want to tailor your social media platform to that. And the sixth tip on getting more freelance work in your 30s is about getting references. You've worked with different people in lots of different places, I'm sure. You can get references from your seniors, from your peers, from your colleagues at work that you were friendly with. You can do this in a number of different ways. Try and line them up via email. Try to also, if you can, try to get them to sort of publicly give you a reference on platforms like LinkedIn. If you have a website, you can use case studies or testimonials or references on your website. Try and get a quote. If you're really technical and you want to do it, you can even ask them to do a video reference where they do 30 seconds or whatever it might be on video. Not many people do that, so you can sort of do that to stand out. But it's not really necessary. You don't have to go to the video length. I think sort of table stakes are sort of getting your references lined up for your CV, as well as maybe having a couple on LinkedIn. The seventh tip for getting more work in your 30s is to make sure that you've got your narratives and your stories lined up. What do I mean by this? What I mean is when you're going to interview and you're having phone calls, maybe pre-interview with potential clients or recruiters, or even friends and family that might refer you to work, you really want to make sure that you've got a number of narratives and stories lined up. So when they ask those frequently asked questions about, tell me about yourself, tell me about your last work, what kind of services do you offer, that kind of thing, those kind of questions, you've got some sort of stock responses that are really strong, reference those metrics and those core experiences and skills you've got, and you don't really need to think about it. You're not going to stutter. They sort of come across very natural. How do you get there? You sort of think backwards or work backwards to get those examples. Sit down when you've got some mind space and you've got some quiet. So you've got the skill that you need to demonstrate. You've got the sort of paragraph. You can then sort of disseminate that into maybe a couple of bullet points. What that'll do is you've sort of repeated it a couple of times, and it means if you need to give a full narrative, you can remember the paragraph. But if someone's asking you for like a quick response on something like XYZ skill, maybe it's on like lead generation, paid advertising, for example, I can sort of like roll off a number of examples of work I've done which has generated good results because I've sort of gone through this process. So I definitely recommend you doing that because you've probably got tons of experience that you can sort of disseminate and write down into these narratives. And if you're noticing when you're doing this that they're like not strong or there isn't many metrics or numbers that jump out, try and put in the numbers. It's a really good opportunity for you to improve the current narratives that you're saying, which should improve the amount of interviews and freelance work that you're able to get. Tip number 8 for getting more freelance work in your 30s is to work on your strengths. The key issue when you're in your 20s is that you may not have understand or you may not be aware of your key strengths. By your 30s, you should have some sort of inclination to know which of your key skills are strengths. And what I recommend you doing for that is to work on your strengths, promote your strengths, develop your strengths, do training, do courses, practice it. Even if you can, try and volunteer with different charities. If you have a lot of time, you can do that on the side. Just work on your strengths so they get better and better. So what I'd recommend is to make sure that you've got the experience there. If you haven't, work on those strengths. They're going to be the easiest ways you can get good results, is to leverage strengths. Number 9 is to leverage your spare time. When you're in your 20s, you want to be having fun, going out, partying, going to bars, clubs, whatever. In your 30s, you're probably a little bit more settled. You may have a lifetime partner, or you may just be partying less, you may be drinking less, and you may be more sort of career-minded or career-focused. Even if you're a freelancer, you still be more focused. So you can leverage that free time for learning and development. You should by now, if you've been watching my videos, you sort of picked up and analysed what skills you need to develop. And from there, you can sort of build out and sort of work backwards to say, I need to develop skill X, skill Y, skill Z. And in my free time after, my contract, after it's finished on the way back, or if I'm working from home in my spare time, I can do this course or I can study that YouTube or whatever it might be and develop those skills in your free time. Using your free time more effectively should increase your productivity, which will increase your skills, which will increase your number of interviews you get, and that'll increase your rate and increase just everything. Basically, it's a sort of virtuous cycle. So improving your skills will always, or should always, lead to more interviews and more contracts. Give yourself a pat on the back for getting to this part of the video, because now we're on to the bonus tips. So the bonus tips for getting more work in your 30s is to do a little bit of analysis on your industry, vertical and job title to see what kind of persona you actually need to develop for that industry. Definitely don't change your value system, definitely don't change your ethics or your morals. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is certain industries, like certain ways of being, certain ways of dressing, certain words are going to make you more appealing to clients, to recruiters, etc., etc. So for example, if you're in my space, if you're in the marketing space, then it's probably not a good idea to be suited and booted, etc. for all marketing jobs. Mostly in general, marketing is a little bit more casual, it's sort of smart casual, it's sort of like funky, trendy. If you're very conservative looking, that sort of fits different verticals better. Do that analysis of your job title, your job type, your industry and vertical. If you're doing marketing in an agency, that's going to be slightly different from doing marketing in an established conservative bank, for example. And once you've understood that, what you can do is you can look at you can analyze your current dress and the current ways you talk about yourself on camera if you're doing videos, or on your CV or resume if it's in written form, or even on your website, on your LinkedIn profile. Then try and analyze the big hitters in your industry. Who's the most celebrated people, there's thought leaders in your industry doing your thing, even if they're just a freelancer. Have a look at their LinkedIn, have a look at their profiles, how are they talking about themselves, how they're presenting themselves, and it's likely those kind of people will be getting tons of work. If you are not getting a lot of work at the moment and you're looking to get more work, you're a current freelancer and you have a lot of time outside of contract or outside of work, then definitely look at the people that are getting work, and definitely look at how you can improve your own image. That's not just how you look and what you wear, it's also how you present yourself in person, and how you present yourself on your resume, CV, portfolio, website, etc. Right guys, I really hope you like this video. Like and subscribe, hit the bell icon for getting more videos. And listen, if you've got any videos that you want me to make sure to leave a comment down below and I'll get through those comments, I'll take a look and I'll add those videos to my content schedule. If you've got any sort of questions or queries and you're actually looking for a little bit more advice, you can always email me directly on progressiseverything@gmail.com. Also, if you're looking for coaching specifically, I offer paid coaching. It's very affordable and it'd be very good if you've got a specific query that you're looking for to chat through and to work through for freelancing, small business or personal finance. You can hit me up on progressiseverything@gmail.com. If you're looking for courses, I offer short courses on how to help individuals to get into freelancing and also optimize their freelancing so they're always in work. You can check those out at progressiseverything.co.uk. There's also going to be exclusive content on my website, so make sure to check that out, progressiseverything.co.uk. The links will be in the description. Make sure you check out my other videos for tips, tricks and hacks, as well as other pros and cons.